Well, welcome back, folks, to the podcast. And season has officially started, and we're pretty pumped about it. We're going to do a hunt review here pretty quick. Me and Thomas will do it for just our perspective, but it's me and Travis here today. And we're going to talk a little bit about his deer hunt and his archery escapade, where he's trying to do something that a lot of people can't or won't do, and that's try to harvest a deer with a bow. It's not an easy task. Travis, tell us about it.
Yeah, so for when I was younger, I'd never shot bow. My family deer hunted quite a bit. We weren't into duck hunting, but my dad and my mom, they hunted quite a bit deer hunting, and went with them as a kid. Had fun. I shot a few deer with a rifle, and didn't really look into bow hunting until my son Talon and my daughter Taylin started shooting bow. And I had a bow a long time ago, and I shot it somewhat. Never shot anything. I never actually went deer hunting with it, but I always enjoyed the archery aspect. It was something that you could do, in a close quarters.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. It doesn't take a lot of room to shoot a bow. And what's so great about it is there's a field behind our house where we live, and I just go out there and shoot. I mean, I walk 100 yards and I'm in a field. And I can shoot, and so I always enjoy that aspect of it. And my kids like to shoot,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's fun to get out there together as a family. And if you haven't looked into archery, I would say you want to do something with your kids that's fun, that's educational, and a great activity.
Mm-hmm.
Bow is awesome, and so Talon was the one that kind of started doing the bow hunting, and I'll let him talk about it on another podcast. But this year he shot his first archery buck. Really nice buck. And I had bought a bow because everybody was shooting. Everybody was we do that a lot of things as a group.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids were a lot of the young guys were buying bows, a lot of the young girls, and we'd go out and do those archery shoots and stuff like that. And that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. But once I was with Talon when he shot his buck, and that got me okay. I'm gonna go do it.
Yeah.
So got a bow. Went up there a couple times with him. Seen a few deer. Never got within range, and him and I had went back up to check out a spot where he shot that buck. I seen a deer. We'd split up, but didn't see anything, that we could shoot at. So we were driving home, and I said, let's go down this one road. And there's a lot of it's all private pretty much. It's all private in there, but we just wanted to drive down the road just to look,
Yeah.
It's always fun to see deer. I don't care if they're in somebody's front yard or wherever. I always just enjoy viewing wildlife.
Yeah.
So we were just going down this road, and I look up, and there's a deer standing pretty much in this guy's, the front of his property. His house is towards the back. I'm like, tell him there's a deer.
Oh, so he does have a tree stand.
No.
This is different.
Yeah, this isn't a tree stand, but this guy's property.
Oh, I thought you said a tree stand on his property.
No, his property, his house sits way in the back of his property.
Oh, okay.
And it's a big, long front of it. And there was a deer out there. And then I looked, and there was another deer. And I was like, hey, there's a buck. And then I'm like, there's another buck. I'm like, there's another buck. I'm like, oh, it's deer. There's like 20 deer hanging out. And we're just sitting there watching them. And look over, and this guy comes out of his house, and he starts waving his arms and jumping up and down. And and it tells like
not at you.
No, tells like, is he waving at us? I'm like, I don't think so. We're just looking at deer on the road. Yeah, get out of get out of here, And Talon's like, should I ask? And
Talon has a touch for permission.
I guess I would give a prop or whatever, but we watched a lot of that. The Seek One, which is some guys out of Georgia, and they hunt a lot of public.
Yeah.
Actually,
urban.
I'm sorry, private.
Urban.
They're urban bow hunters.
Yeah.
They're hunting these little 10, 15 acre parcels and killing these deer. And so we were like, okay, and it's California. We don't really think of that. But I was like, should I ask him? Like, sure. I go, all you can say is no. So we pull up to the house, and Talon walks up to the door, and it's like, knocks on the door and says, hello, sir. He's like, hi. And he's like, I see you got a deer problem here. And the guy goes, yeah. He goes, it's a problem. He goes, they're eating all my plants. He goes, I don't mind them in my front yard. They can stay out there all day. But he goes, they start eating all my plants up. And he goes, there's too many of them. And Talon goes, well, we can help you with that. And the guy's like, is that legal? Talon's like, yeah, it's season. And he's all, were you up on the hill shooting? And Talon's like, no, we shoot bows. And
I think that. Don't you think that's a big factor in helping too? When people know it's not a gun, it's a
it
bow. I
is
feel like you could get
because
permission
you
easier.
reduce the range, right?
Yeah, right.
You don't have to worry
The
about
danger too.
some idiot shooting a gun
Yeah.
in a neighbor, kind of in I mean, these are like,
an urban area with houses.
I think this guy's got 15 acres. There's some 5-acre parcels, 10-acre parcels. So it's a close thing. And a bow, how far is a bow going to go? Unless you shoot it straight up in the air. 70, 80 yards max, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to ricochet, you wouldn't think. And so the guy's like, yeah, he goes, shoot him. And we went up there, and the first day, Talon's like, you're shooting. And I'm like, okay. And I've been practicing, felt pretty comfortable. Hit a target, pretty easy. My patterns are not the greatest, but I mean, I can.
Well, how do you, say 40 yards? What kind of size ring do you think you stay in consistently?
Let's say like about 20-inch. No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
No, but for legitimately, though, what do you think?
I don't shoot
yards?
tight groups, to be honest with you.
Really?
And I think it's because of my vision.
You think so?
Yeah, I can't see close up, and so my pins are blurry.
And
I think that does affect me somewhat. Just not to be really sharp. And if I put glasses on, I can't see far away.
Oh,
so it's horrible. And so I'm kind of like,
that's kind of messed up.
But I feel like I can hit something, Well, I think I can. So we went out the first day, and it was getting close to the time that we seen those deer in that guy's yard, because I was like, what time is it? And I'm like, they should come any moment. And so we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, boom, look up, and there's a nice forky and a 3x2, a smaller 3x2. They come in, they start feeding. We're being super still. And, I mean, these are not, I would say, of course they're wild deer, right? But they're used to being around people to some degree. They're not like
they're
out in the
getting
middle
their
of
food.
the forest.
Yeah.
They're used to hearing probably lawnmowers, chainsaws, things like that.
People walking around.
Yeah, so and dogs barking, So they're not super skittish, but they're alert. I mean, they're super alert. And they come in, and Talon gives me a range 40 yards. Buck's not the best angle. He's coring towards me. And goofy me, I decided I need to get in a better position. So I stand up and I'm start moving. Talon's like, what are you doing? And I'm pretty much spraddle-legged.
So are you on your knees before?
I was on my knees before.
And you could have totally took that shot?
Well, they weren't. They were behind some trees. And I
so
was
you didn't have a clear shot?
I didn't have a clear shot. I was trying to move in position to get a clear shot. When they put their head down, I moved. And then they looked up, and I'm like halfway in stride, right?
Yeah.
Spraddle-legged and can't shoot. And she was like, Talon whispered, he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm like, I'm trying to get a shot. He's like, draw. I draw back. I'm like, how far? He's like, 40. And I felt pretty steady, but in that moment, it's amazing how much your adrenaline comes up. I don't care. You can shoot at 3D targets or whatever, and to being, I think, a rookie archer, I would say, I was a little bit jumpy, and I shot and probably shot 4 inches right over his back. Boom, they were gone. Talon's like, yeah, that's gone. So we're like, yeah, we blew it. Oh, we didn't blow it. I blew it. So that was gone. We went up a couple times in the evening. We seen does and spikes and no bucks that I remember. And then I went back up last Saturday. Yeah, last Saturday. Got there early. It was really cool. Got there, right at daybreak. It was still dark when I walked in. Got set up, sitting there, and it was cool. A little gray fox comes in, 20 feet, 40 yards. He's looking at me, and he knows there's something there, but he doesn't know what it is. And so he passes on, and I could hear some turkeys back up on the hill behind me. And I'm like, oh, there must be a bunch of hens up there. And I'm sitting there. All of a sudden, single file. One. Oh, that's a Tom. Next one. Tom. 15 Toms walk out. Jakes and Toms, but mostly they were Toms right now. And I didn't really pay attention to turkeys in the fall because we spring turkey.
Because when is this season?
It's November sometime.
Oh, it is? Okay.
18th, 19th. So
kind of for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but it's in duck season.
Right.
So I'm not going to go up there and chase a turkey around during duck season. Are you crazy? But they had like real scraggly beards. But there were some big birds in there. Yeah, and they walked by at 20 yards, just right by me. Single file. It was really cool. And I was just like perfectly still because turkeys, they got eyeballs that you wouldn't believe. Not that I was going to, it wasn't season, so I'm not going to shoot them. But I was just like interested to see how they reacted and stuff like that. They walked by. So I'm sitting there. And I didn't say this. And the week before I was sitting there. And when you're by yourself, you can only see, I don't know what your vision is. What, 270 maybe?
Yeah, so I
don't know what it is.
I don't know.
It'd be interesting to see because and I kind of caught something on the corner of my eye, and I turned, and there was one of the biggest bobcats I've ever seen, like 10 feet from me.
Really?
And I don't know
Which
if
is now illegal.
I don't know if he didn't know what I was, and slight movements. He was like interested in honing in on it because I was all camouflaged out. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Because he was coming right towards me.
Yeah.
And I caught him, and he took off jamming, and he took off. I mean, he was gone in a second. But scared me to death. You know what I'm saying? You don't expect to turn around and have a bobcat that close to you. And so, basically, it was the same scenario this last weekend. I'm sitting there, and I turn, and there's a nice forked horn stand there at 20 yards. And there's a big oak limb kind of.
You're by yourself at this point,
I'm by myself, covering his body. And, of course, he's back behind my left shoulder, which I can shoot better to the left than the right because you can't turn to the right being right-handed.
Right.
But I couldn't get into position, and I didn't have a clear shot anyways. And so he started up the hill, so I kind of like started sneaking towards him, and I could see him going through the trees. It was a really dense, brushy hillside. And he stopped at 40 yards, but no clear shot at his vitals. I could see parts of him through
180 degrees. Human. Well, each eye says 130 degrees, but together, 180. Oh, nearly 180. No, with both eyes, nearly
You can see 180.
Yeah, that's about it.
It seems like you can look a little farther.
I think they're just saying if you're looking forward,
if you're looking forward, maybe, okay. But if you cut your eyes, you can see a lot farther, I think.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, so that one was gone. I'm like, oh, there went my only chance for today. So I'm sitting there, and it's really open. It's a bit like a big flat. There's like 2 or 3 trees in this flat, and then it kind of goes up onto a rocky hillside. And I'm sitting there, and I see a deer like way across this opening, and I'm watching it, and it's a forked horn, and he lays down. And I've never shot an archery buck. It's no trophy buck, But I'm like, hey, it's getting close into the season. If I can shoot a forked horn, I'm going to shoot him with my bow. Mm-hmm. So I get right behind the oak tree, and I stay right in line. I start heading towards him. And it's weird because you can watch videos, you can do all this stuff, but it's so different in the moment.
Yeah.
And I ranged him. He was at 44 yards, and I should have went, meh, get him to stop, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't do anything. I just watch him, and he kind of angles up the hill behind these trees. And I'm like, okay, he's going slow. He's walking slow, and he don't really act like the wind was perfect. So I go, and I had my shoes off, so I'm just like sneaking along. I'm like, I'm going to get behind this tree. I'm going to get closer to him. As soon as I see him, I'm going to pop this thing. So I'm going along, and there was a rock in front of me, not very high, maybe 3 feet high rock, not very big, about the size of a deer's body. And all of a sudden, I see something turn. That rock's like part of the top of it turned. I'm like, oh, there's another buck right there. And there was a decent 3x2, and he was laying there, and he was facing away from me. Wind was blowing towards me. I'm like, this is perfect. This thing's gone. So
I'm gonna shoot him in bed.
I was gonna shoot him in his bed.
Mm-hmm. Could you get a vital shot from the angle he was at while he's laying down?
If I could have seen him, yeah, I could have put it right behind his shoulder. Mm-hmm. But he was close to the rock, so I don't know. I mean, it's like you think you can do it in the moment,
mm-hmm.
and you don't, and you're trying to think about different things. But I'm thinking, I got this deer right here. I was already like, okay, this is gonna be cool. I'm already thinking about taking pictures with this thing.
How many times does that come back and bit us, dude? How many times?
I mean he's in
like shooting a Drake Mallard. Like this one's in the back.
He's in the back of the truck right now, man.
That is not the right thing to do.
Talon and Connor, they're hunting up north. I'm like, I'm be sending a Marco Polo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm be sending Titus a picture
all within
of this
5
thing.
seconds. This is going through your head.
Going through your head
Already.
It's like boom, you're just playing out in your mind. And the deer's there, and I'm like, he don't know I'm here. He's looking the opposite way, and I messed up. This is what and I guess it's a learning process. And I start crab stepping to my right. I'm at full draw, 30 yards. I mean, there's nothing in between. It's wide open. I'm like, this deer is gone. For whatever reason, they're wild for a reason.
Yeah.
He turns his head, boom. All I see is his neck and his head sticking out behind this rock, and he's looking right at me, pegged. I'm like, no shot. He's got me pegged. I mean, I'm like, great. I'm at full draw. No shot.
Oh, you are?
I'm at full draw. Yeah, I'm ready to 30 yards. Yeah, I'm like, I have my bow up on him, and he's like looking right at me, and I'm like, I have no shot. Boom. Deer can move. He jumps. Boom, jumps up and bounds a couple steps, and I'm like, I'm at full draw. I'm not going to pull out my rangefinder. Like, how far is he now?
No, you can't do that.
And I'm thinking 40 yards. Felt steady. 40-yard pin on him. Squeeze.
Are you sure? Were you guessing 40?
I'm guessing 40 because he was at 30.
Tough. Right.
Yeah. And I aimed center body behind the shoulder, and Talon's told me, he's like, aim lower.
I know.
Aim lower.
When we go shoot
Because-
3Ds, it is.
Yes, and I've talked
You
to
have
my
to.
buddy Bill and
It's lower
and,
than you think,
and
huh?
John. They hunt elk a lot, and my buddy Bill told me the same thing. He goes, they said when you pull, you have a tendency to, and I don't know how true this is, but he said his brother's shot tons of elk. You have a tendency to pull up instead of, you know what I'm saying. And so I may have slightly pulled when I released. I tried to be steady. You practice that
Right.
breathing. Right over his back again, and I'm like, there he goes. He took off, and that was that. So I've blown 2 opportunities with the bow this year, but it's fun because these deer are not, like I said, they've seen people, they're used to cars, things like that. So it's kind of like a training ground for me, I guess.
yeah.
In a sense, I'm taking it as that approach. I'm not like, oh no, I didn't get him. It's the
Right.
end of the world, whatever. I'm enjoying it. It's fun to be out there. You see cool things like that bobcat, the fox, the turkeys, and just being out there in nature is
Right.
it's therapy. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
You need to just get away from life sometimes. Just the hustle and bustle, work, everything, and just be out there. And it's time that for me personally that I can just sit there and I pray. I talk to God. And I look at the things around us, creation, and I marvel at it. The birds, everything like that. And I try to soak that all in. And just let my mind go away from everything else that sometimes life can throw at you, and just enjoy the moments like we talked about before. Because someday I'm gonna be old and I ain't gonna be able to do that, and those are memories that I have
Right.
that I'll always remember.
Right.
You always remember the one that got away, right? The one you missed, or
Well, that's kind of like a
Yeah.
semi of a stressor, right? Like in you like missing, but it's it's not a bad stressor. And I mean like the pressure that is on your mind,
Yeah.
the heart rate. There's pressure on the heart and the beat, but it's a good one.
yeah,
Not when your boss calls and say, hey, you need to get this done. You need to get all this paperwork done. But you're out there,
yeah. Just call
dude,
the
using
customer
your
back.
natural abilities and your God-given instincts, killer instincts to harvest an animal or whatever. And so like it's a battle of the minds of the nature that God put in the creation
Yeah,
versus the human. And you know what? You win some, you lose some, and it's like, okay, that turkey that I missed. I mean, I was sick. I almost about cried because
you hunted a lot for
I
that
had
thing.
put a lot of
You put a lot of
time
time and effort in that
into
bird.
that turkey. It wasn't one day, one hunt. It was tons of time. And he kept outsmarting me. And guess what? I never even got him. I mean, yeah, I could have killed him with the shotgun, but like it wouldn't have brought me
The same fulfillment.
It would not have brought me the same thing. And I almost rather, looking back now, I don't have no regrets.
Yeah,
I don't like, man, I just wish I would have shot him with the shotgun. It's like, you know what? He beat me. Because, I mean, we have the advantage somewhat with the shotgun, even though it's still hard to kill a turkey with a shotgun.
yeah.
I mean, you guys told me that how many times, but you guys have been pretty successful and stuff. But it's like with the bow on a turkey, I feel like that's like one of the hardest. It's insanely hard. Like it reminded me so much of elk hunting in the rut.
Because you're calling, they're coming in, responsive.
Dude, it was so much like elk hunting. It's not even funny. So it actually was a pretty good rush. I think I could see my dad actually liking that just for the fact of the calling, the coming in, the hiding,
he
the
probably
shooting.
would.
I feel like they're tougher though, to be honest with you, because when you're with elk, they're so distracted with the rut. And I know their eyes are good, but I feel like just turkeys are just like you said, their eyes are so sharp, it's stupid, dude.
Yeah, it is.
They have a little bit more fear than I think an elk does.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know. They just get dumb in the rut, you know?
But what I like about the archery, I mean, if I had the opportunity to shoot these deer with a rifle, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It would be no challenge.
No,
there's no challenge aspect to it. And I'm not, I mean, I would, trust me, I would go deer hunting with a rifle in a moment.
And shoot a big buck, you know, and everything. Whatever.
In certain places, you know what I'm saying? But with this scenario, the bow is so much fun. And I think that bow hunting kind of opens up, the deer are not as scared, right?
Yeah.
Especially early in the season. They're still in velvet.
Because when you miss, they hear that. And then they run.
Yeah, they're not hearing.
It's not this, it's not this just big, massive thing.
Yeah, they're like, what was that kind of?
You know.
Yeah.
Someone pulling around my yard.
So that I really enjoy it, and yeah, it's like I said, if you get a chance to get into archery, it's a good thing.
It is.
Great thing for the kids.
Well, something I was not wanting to cut you off earlier.
That's cool.
But like we've done it at backyards at parties We've all been back there and taken our bows, and set the target up and shoot 20 yards, and everybody's having a competition. It's just a good off-season fun time, and it's fun during season for like whatever you're gonna hunt.
Yeah,
it is fun, dude. I like it a lot, and I actually got to get new string, a new peep. Mine finally just busted enough. I had what is that? The little rubber piece that goes from the peep to the back.
I don't know what they call that.
I don't know what the technical word is, but I'm gonna get the inline in-string peep. I'm gonna put a nice string on. I think that's what's gonna help the sound too, dude. My bow is just rattly, dude.
Really?
Like, I don't know. Don't you think it's pretty loud? I know there's obviously the bows, even your bow's a bear too.
Yeah.
And I have a bear, but you have a nicer. I can definitely tell a major difference because you're a double cam, right?
Yeah.
See, mine's a single cam, which is totally fine. I like my bow. There's nothing wrong with it. I know I can kill stuff with it, but I need to put the new string on it, and I probably need to do a drop away. And the sight's okay, and I shoot pretty accurate with good groups, but I think at some point, whenever maybe 2 to 5 years, I transition to another bow, I can take that good equipment and carry it over. It's not like a waste, you know, like, well, now I got a new bow, that all just goes down the toilet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
No, I really like my bear bow.
Which one which model do you have?
I have the Inception.
Inception.
I bought the
Is that like 2 levels up from mine?
I think it's only one.
Just the next one up?
Yeah, and it's the ready to hunt one that came with everything on it. The only thing I've changed is I put the peep sight in it, which is different.
Did you use the actual original string?
I still have the original string.
Okay, and you put it in that?
I'm going to put a new string on probably next year. Yeah, I put it in that, and then it came with a whisker biscuit, and I put the fall away rest on it.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I've changed on it.
But that right there just probably I think you said your accuracy went way up too with that drop away, didn't it?
Yeah, because I don't know. Some people really like whisker biscuits, and I don't have anything with them, but it just, I don't know.
Well, it's nice that it holds your arrow.
Yeah.
But I don't like, have you ever watched that in slow motion? The fletching, what the fletching does when it's going through that whisker biscuit? I mean, I know a lot of people have been successful with that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not downing it. But it's just like, that's why after like a few weeks of shooting, your fletching gets those little warbles in it. And you can see when it goes through that whisker biscuit, that's exactly what it's doing. When it's going through that. Now, they say you can take a blow dryer, I guess, and they'll smooth back out. But again, like, I'm not downplaying. That's what I got. But I kind of do want to drop away. I think it will. I've heard it will help your accuracy.
I like it. I mean, I don't know if it's helped my accuracy, but
I thought you said it did at the time. I mean,
it seemed like it did.
Shooting a deer is different. Okay.
Yeah.
The pressure on your heart rate. I still don't think. Just knowing you, like, I don't think even your second attempt, your heart rate was just calm. I'm sure your heart rate was pounded a little bit.
Up. It was, definitely my blood pressure was up. But I felt calmer the second time, and I think it's just keep doing it. Eventually I'm going to, hopefully,
you will
be successful.
You will.
I'm going to go back up this next weekend and give it one last whirl.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a blast. I like it. Yeah. It's a good time, and like watching, you start watching. It opens up a new venue of
when you watch other people?
YouTube videos. Like you start watching archery and all this stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it, and kind of piqued my interest back up. I think with Talon, guiding in Alaska and Wyoming, it's kind of piqued my interest back up in big game. Because for years it was just duck hunting. Didn't think about big game, but we're open next year, which that's something I still got to do before November 1st. Is put in for Wyoming for a point for antelope.
We're running out of time, brother.
Yeah, we're running out of time. I know.
Actually, I already have my alarm set for tomorrow to go and buy my antelope point.
Yeah, I gotta buy
another deer point because the only reason I'm gonna buy a deer point is because I've already shot a deer in Wyoming and I just don't want to keep, like, for me, I'm not just gonna keep shooting deer all the time. Like, that's just me. Like, if it's a big buck or something massive, I will.
Yeah.
But for me, I've got so many other things, and I spend my money on, and like trips out of state for duck hunting and stuff. But really, I think me and Thomas have been in collecting points for antelope in Wyoming for 7 years because I have this zone that we want to hunt really bad in it. They're basically trophy.
Yeah.
Antelope, it'd be public land, but you got to have a lot of points to hunt it. It used to be 6, and like 3 years in, it changed to like 8. Wow. And I think this year we'll have 8. So I think we're going to actually apply this spring or whenever it is that I think it's March or something like that. We're going to apply for the antelope. Not that we're going to get it, But me and Thomas both have the same amount of points, so we're hoping. The only thing is, if it's that hard to draw, I'm thinking, I wonder if that's really going to hurt us from getting draws by putting in as a party. I think they only give out like 30, 40 tags.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how many people put in, though. Dude, it's in the middle of nowhere.
But and together, is that like 16 points then?
Well,
that's a lot.
I don't think that's how it works. I thought it goes off the average of the group. But you know what? I told Thomas, when we started doing this 7 years ago, or 8 years, whatever it was, I said, you know what? If it takes me 12 years to go with you and us both to have a tag, I'd rather wait 12 years than get one by myself.
You know, eventually it's going to happen.
It will.
And it'll be worth it.
Dude.
For the area.
And antelope hunting is so, for a rifle, is so easy compared to other things we've hunted. I mean, like Jeff was saying, you know, you don't got to get up till 8. You can sleep in, basically. Oh, man. You know what? I got to take this call.
Hey,
We're going to end the podcast right now.
Bang, cut off. Bye.
Right.
See you guys.
See
Have
you
a
guys
good
on the
one.
next
Take
one.
care. Bye.